Most people believe that the ultimate currency is money. We are taught from a young age to work hard, climb the ladder, and collect as many dollars as possible. But there is a silent divergence in how the wealthy and the struggling view their lives. It isn't found in their bank accounts, but in their calendars. While one group views time as something to be traded for a wage, the other views time as the only asset worth buying. This is the rich versus poor journal. Today we examine how the wealthy and the poor think about time. The core observation is simple. Many remain in a cycle of lack because they see time as an infinite resource to be sold. Those who build lasting wealth see time as a finite resource to be protected. This shift in perspective changes every decision, from the jobs they take to the way they spend their Saturday mornings. Consider the story of Thomas and Julian. Both were skilled electricians. When the company offered a massive overtime project during the holidays, Thomas was the first to sign up. He saw the time and a half pay as a windfall. He worked 80-hour weeks, trading his sleep, his family dinners, and his physical energy for a larger paycheck. By the end of the month, he had more money, but he was exhausted. His body required a week of expensive rest just to recover. Julian declined the overtime. Instead, he spent those same extra hours in a quiet garage, building a standardized kit for junior electricians to use on residential jobs. He wasn't getting paid by the hour for that time. In fact, his paycheck that month was significantly smaller than Thomas's. 2 years later, Thomas is still waiting for the next overtime shift to pay for his mounting bills. Julian now sells his kits to 12 different contracting firms. The time he lost in that garage now generates income while he sleeps. Thomas sold his time once. Julian used his time to build a lever. There is also the matter of the planning horizon. Sarah and Elena both started small online boutiques. Sarah focused on the next 30 days. She spent her time chasing trending items that would sell quickly for a fast profit. Her days were a frantic blur of refreshing social media and responding to immediate customer complaints. She lived for the hit of a daily sale. When the trend died, her income vanished, leaving her with no foundation and a depleted spirit. Elena operated on a 5-year horizon. She spent her first 6 months not selling, but building a proprietary supply chain and an automated email system. She spent hours on tasks that yielded $0 in the short term. For a long time, it looked like Sarah was winning. But when the market shifted, Elena's automated systems continued to function. She had designed a machine that required only an hour of her oversight per day. Sarah had simply built herself a high-stress job. Sarah worked for the moment. Elena worked for the decade. Consider how they view convenience. A man named Robert earns $50 an hour. He spends his Saturday morning, 4 hours of it, mowing his lawn and washing his own cars. He believes he is saving $200. He views his time as free because he isn't on the clock. Another man in the same neighborhood, earning the same amount, pays a local service $100 to handle those tasks. He spends those 4 hours reading a technical manual for a new certification or simply resting so he can perform at his peak on Monday. Robert saved $100 but lost 4 hours he can never reclaim. The neighbor lost $100 but bought 4 hours of growth or recovery. One man is a servant to his chores, the other is the manager of his energy. Then there is the trap of the short-term payoff. We see it in the way an afternoon is structured. One individual finishes a long day of work and immediately seeks the time filler. They spend 3 hours scrolling through short-form videos or watching a series they've already seen. They are seeking a reward for their exhaustion. Time is something to be killed until the next workday begins. A few doors away, another person finishes the same grueling shift. They dedicate 30 minutes to reviewing their goals or learning a single new skill before resting. They don't view time as something to be killed. They view it as something to be invested. To one, time is a burden to be relieved. To the other, time is a seed to be planted. The difference is rarely about the intensity of the work. Both groups often work very hard. The divergence is in the target of that work. One group works to sustain their current life, which requires them to keep selling their hours indefinitely. The other works to create systems, knowledge, or assets that will eventually set their hours free. The poor sell time to get money. The rich use money to get time. As the years pass, these small deviations in how a Tuesday evening or a Saturday morning is spent create an unbridgeable gap. One person finds themselves older, with nothing to show for their years but a history of pay stubs. The other finds themselves with a life that no longer requires their presence to prosper. We all have the same 24 hours. The question is, are you spending them, or are you planting them?
If you found value here, tap like and subscribe to the Rich versus Poor Journal. More stories like this are coming.